The Galactic Academy's cafeteria fell silent as Kamal walked through the towering doorways, his human-sized lunchbox looking comically small in his hands. Around him, dozens of alien species, some crystalline, others gaseous, a few with too many eyes, turned to stare at the newest transfer student. At barely 6 feet tall, he was dwarfed by most of his classmates. Lisa, a fellow human exchange student who had arrived a semester earlier, watched from her corner table with growing concern. She had warned the administration about Vexithar, but they dismissed her concerns as species-centric bias. Now seeing Kamal's innocent smile as he navigated between tables of creatures that could crush him without thinking, she felt her stomach twist. "Fresh meat," rumbled a voice that seemed to shake the metallic walls. Vexithar emerged from behind a group of insectoid students, his 12-foot frame casting a shadow across half the cafeteria. His species, the Cathara, were apex predators, from a death world where even the plants had developed a taste for flesh. Forearms ending in razor-sharp claws, a mouth full of serrated teeth, and eyes that glowed with predatory hunger. Vexithar was the embodiment of every human nightmare about monsters under the bed. He had made Lisa's first month at the academy a living hell, accidentally knocking her books from her hands with enough force to shatter reinforced data pads, cornering her in empty corridors with his intimidating presence, and making comments about how soft-worlders didn't belong among real predators. Kamal looked up at the towering alien and smiled. "Hi there, I'm Kamal. Nice to meet you." Vexithar's four eyes narrowed. "You smell wrong, sweet, weak." His voice was like grinding stone. "I am Vexithar, apex hunter of the Kithara. You will show proper submission, little prey thing." "Oh, I don't really do the whole submission thing," Kamal said cheerfully, setting his lunchbox on an empty table. "But thanks for the introduction. Anyone want to share lunch? My grandmother packed way too much." The cafeteria's atmosphere grew tense. Several smaller species began backing away from the confrontation. Lisa started to rise from her seat, but something in Kamal's casual demeanor made her pause. Vexithar leaned down, bringing his massive head level with Kamal's. His breath reeked of raw meat and something that might have been sulfur. "You do not understand, soft-worlder. I have killed creatures twice your size for sport. Your species is nothing but evolved tree-dwellers. Weak. Pathetic." Kamal nodded thoughtfully as he opened his lunchbox. "You know, my grandmother always said the biggest bullies are usually just scared little kids inside." He pulled out a sandwich wrapped in old Earth-style wax paper. "She also said the best way to deal with bullies is to show them what real strength looks like." Vexithar's laugh was like breaking glass. "Real strength? From you?" One massive claw shot forward, intending to pin Kamal against the wall. What happened next would be talked about in academy dormitories for years. Kamal's hand moved with impossible speed, catching Vexithar's wrist mid-strike. The 12-foot predator's eyes widened as his unstoppable attack simply stopped. Kamal's grip tightened, and there was an audible crack as reinforced bone began to compress. "See, here's the thing about humans," Kamal said conversationally, still holding the massive alien's arm effortlessly. "We don't come from a death world. We come from a world that tried very, very hard to kill us, and we said no thank you and kept living anyway." Vexithar tried to pull away, then tried to strike with his other arms. Each attempt was casually blocked or redirected by the small human who continued talking as if he were discussing the weather. "My grandmother survived something called World War II. Lived through bombs falling from the sky, spent months hiding in basements eating tree bark and grass. She raised 6 kids while my grandfather was off fighting monsters that made your species look like house cats." Kamal's grip tightened further, and Vexithar actually whimpered. "She taught me that real predators don't need to announce how dangerous they are." The massive alien tried to use his height advantage, rearing up to his full 12 feet. Kamal simply stepped forward and swept Vexithar's legs, sending the apex predator crashing to the floor with a thunderous impact that made the entire cafeteria shake. "The funny thing about humans," Kamal continued, placing one foot on Vexithar's chest and leaning down, "is that we're persistence predators. We don't kill you quickly. We just keep coming. until you're too tired to run anymore. Around the cafeteria, alien students stared in shock. Vexthar, the terror who had dominated the academy for 3 years, lay pinned beneath a human who looked like he could barely lift a textbook. Now, Kamal said, stepping back and extending his hand. Would you like to try this again? Maybe start with hello this time? Vexthar stared up at the human, his predator's instincts finally recognizing what his intellect had missed. This wasn't prey. This was something far more dangerous, a persistence predator in a deceptively small package. Slowly, carefully, Vexthar accepted the offered hand and allowed himself to be helped up. I apologize for my rudeness, he said, his voice now carrying a note of respect. I did not understand. No worries, Kamal said brightly. Want to try some of grandmother's cookies? She always says food tastes better when shared with friends. As the two sat down together, Lisa smiled from her corner table. She pulled out her communication device and sent a message to Earth's diplomatic corps. Request approved for more human exchange students. Recommend prioritizing candidates with grandmothers who pack lunch. The cafeteria slowly returned to its normal volume, but the whispered conversations were all about the same thing. The small human who had taught the academy's apex predator what real strength looked like, armed with nothing but his grandmother's love and the accumulated stubbornness of an entire species that had looked at an hostile universe and decided to thrive anyway. From that day forward, bullying incidents at the Galactic Academy dropped to nearly zero. After all, nobody wanted to find out what other lessons human grandmothers had packed along with the sandwiches.